Myself CA Sudeep Kumar Jain, and I am here to discuss my knowledge and experience on the topic Indian Contract Act. So next 12 lectures, including this today's lecture, we will have 12. We will discuss Indian Contract Act. So be ready for it. But before starting, I want to discuss the way of pattern on which basis we will discuss the topic. First, unit-wise bifurcation on these 12 lectures is already on your site. I will allow to ask your query in the last 15 minutes of the session. So be concentrate on what I am giving you. If you have some query, you can message on the chat box after giving interval. I will take up the queries, but please check you don't repeat the query. Okay, your queries, I request you to ask your queries on the topic what I'm discussing, right? So let's start the topic Indian Contract Act 1872. One thing I request all of you to make the habit to make yourself positive. So 5 positive habits to build your life. Please give 20 seconds on this slide. Wake up with purpose, with target. Move your body every day. Fuel your mind with positivity. Focus on the progress, not perfection. End the day with the gratitude. What I have received, you should be grateful. What you have received at the end of the day. Syrup of success mean you should say yourself in the morning. Start the day by saying, I will be a CA. One day I will be a CA. And repeat this word you have to say with yourself. And repeat this tonic 3 times a day. And this will make your day positive. You will get at the end. जो भी आपने पढ़ा लगेगा यार ये बिल्कुल सही है ठीक है तो फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन सीए कोर्स is your mind should be positive. Some people say the law is very horrible. My answer is no. The law is very sweet. So let's start the journey of law with me, C.A. Sudeep Kumar. Right? The coverage of syllabus as per the institute guidelines is 2.5% from the chapter 1 Indian regulatory framework, about 25% Indian Contract Act, about 17.5% above. This is not the fix. It may be some plus minus. 17.5% each from Sale of Goods Act and Indian Partnership Act. 7.5% from LLP. 17.5% about from Companies Act and rest from the Negotiable Instrument Act. एक second. Right? Two types of question are asked normally in the exam. Direct question like what do you mean by so and so and what is the meaning of whatever. And descriptive question are also asked like the case history will be a small case history will be before you and then you have to answer according to the provisions. So question is, sir, what is the way of presentation? How it may, how we have to answer? I will discuss with regular time interval. But please don't repeat the question. Sir, section याद करने हैं क्या? Sir, हमें present कैसे करना? I will discuss. Please concentrate what I am trying to give you. Right? What is law? According to me, law is love against war. See, what is the law? Law is the set of obligation and duties imposed by the government for securing the welfare, providing justice. Society means law is what to do or not to do. Do's and don'ts is the law. To make the society a systematic way, to run the society in systematic way. Suppose if you are uh, going through a crossing and there is no red light, there will be a traffic jam situation. इधर से भी लोग आ रहे हैं, उधर से भी लोग आ रहे हैं. But whenever the police department or you have the red light, it means the law. इसका मतलब क्या होगा कि then in that case you have to stop at red light, you have to move at the green. So law का पर्पस यही है कि झगड़े खत्म हो जाए, आपको पता हो कि what to do or what not to do. In society, every person, society means now you can say the country is a society. अब इस पूरे देश में क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, कैसे रहना है, कैसे चलना है, that is the part of the law, right? The law is written in paragraphs, and paragraphs are called section. Sub part of that paragraph is subsection. Sub part of that subsection is clause, and sub part of subsection sub part of the clause is that sub clause. So, suppose this is the way of writing. So it means section 4, subsection 1, clause A, subclause 5. Right? Importance of presentation. Sir, I have learned everything. सर मुझे लॉ में सब याद हो गया, लेकिन पता नहीं एग्जाम में क्या हुआ, नंबर नहीं आए. नॉट ओनली सफिशिएंट कि आपको लॉ याद हो गया, आपको बताना भी है. यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन टू द एग्जामिनर दैट यू हैव द नॉलेज, एंड दैट कुड बी डन ओनली बाय वे ऑफ योर प्रेजेंटेशन. कैसे आप प्रेजेंट करते हो वही डिपेंड करता है. सी द एग्जाम्पल, द कॉस्ट ऑफ ए चपाती, the cost of a chapati is same whether it is prepared at the dhaba, whether it is prepared at the 5-star hotel. But at dhaba it is costing rupees 10 and 5-star hotel it is costing 100, just because of presentation. So you have to be presenter like a 5-star hotel, not the dhaba star, right? ये बेसिक बातें हैं जो मैं आपसे कर रहा हूं, अभी हम टॉपिक पे नहीं आए. So we are going to start the topic Indian Contract 1872. Today we will start with the unit number 1, nature of contract. This chapter has 9 units. 9 units. So in next 12 days, including today, we will discuss these 9 units. So please be concentrate in these 2 hours on the topic, on the provisions, so that you can get maximum marks. रही बात presentation की, definitely जहां जहां मुझे जरूरत पड़ेगी मैं आपको बताऊंगा आपको कैसे present करना है. So Indian Contract Act is applicable in 1872. So what is the purpose of Indian Contract Act? The purpose of the Indian Contract Act was that there should be a proper similar rules and regulation, uniform rules and regulation for all the public, so that there may not be any difficulty in following the terms agreements. Suppose A enter into a contract with B to sell his building, to sell his house to B. A and B enters into the contract with B. A enter into contract with B to sell his house to B on particular date for particular amount. But suppose if there is no law regarding this contract, what will happen? On due date, A can deny or B can deny, and no one can enforce. कोई डर ही नहीं होगा भाई, कुछ होगा थोड़ी ना अगर मना कर दूंगा तो मैं. So there will be a clashes, there will be a war. So to remove these difficulties, the Contract Act was enacted. But important thing, before that time, the Indian Contract Act, what was the law? what is the procedure, what is the way where there was no Indian contract. So in the ancient and medieval time, there was no specific law of contract. For this purpose, generally different sorts of law like Vedas, Dharmshastra, Smritis, Shrutis were referred. इनमें क्या लिखा है वो फॉलो किए गए. During the period of Maurya, contracts were in the form of bilateral exchange. सामान के बदले सामान, goods against goods. During the Mughal rule, contracts were governed by the Mohammedan law. The word ijab was used for offer, proposal, and kabul was used for acceptance, for permission, for consent. But during the British period, before the advent of Indian Contract Act, Indian Contract Act आने से पहले, the English law was applied under the Charter 1726 issued by the King George to East India Company. After that, the Act, Indian Contract Act, entered and it is effective with effect from 1st September 1872. Originally, this act was applicable. This act was applicable to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. But this is now at present it is extended to whole of India after the removal of Article 370. So in this act there were 266 sections. Section 1 to 75 connected with the principles law of contract and therefore applies to all contract irrespective of their nature. Section 76 and to 123 connect these provisions were about the sale transaction, but these provisions are repealed by the enactment of the Specific Act for Sale of Goods Act 1930. Section 124 to Section 235 connected with the indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge and agency, and Section 239 to 266 was connected with the partnership provisions which are repealed by the enactment of the Indian Partnership Act 1932. So for Section 1 to 75, unit number 126, this is not applicable because these provisions are repealed. 7, 8, 9 unit connected with Section 124 to 238, and these provisions are also repealed. 239 to 266 are also repealed, so these are not applicable for you, right? Now, the first topic in this unit is contract, agreement, promise. Contract, agreement, promise. So first of all, we should understand the concept of promise. What is the promise as per the Indian Contract Act? Promise Section 2 Clause B defines when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted, and proposal when accepted becomes the promise. Means when one person making the offer and second person giving the acceptance, this accepted offer is called the promise. So offer plus acceptance equal to promise. Agreement is defined in Section 2 Clause E, which says every promise on every set of promise, every promise and every set of promise forming consideration. Now, first of all, we should understand what is the meaning of consideration. Suppose A asks B. Suppose A asks B, will you purchase my car for 1 lakh rupees? Will you purchase my car for 1 lakh rupees? So that is, I am giving my car and what I am getting in return, is 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh is the consideration. So consideration means something in return. Something in return. It is called consideration. So promise, if promise is added with consideration, is called agreement. And then contract. The agreement may be enforceable by law. Agreement may not be enforceable by law. If agreement is enforceable by law, it is called contract. So please note down in short, promise equals to offer plus acceptance. Agreement equal to promise plus consideration. Contract equal to agreement plus enforceability. I mentioned the sections also, so please note down. I'm giving you 10 seconds. Please इसको नोट कर लीजिए, आसान हो जाएगा आप लोगों को दिमाग में रखना. नोट कर लीजिए बच्चों. अभी सब बताऊंगा, अभी वेट करिए, ठीक है ना. आपकी क्वेरीज अभी बाद में लेंगे, जहां एक बीच में एक इंटरवल पे अपन लेंगे. अभी सुनते जाइए ध्यान से. Difference between agreement and contract. A question may be asked for 4 marks on this topic. Please learn these points. Important points जो जहां दिक्कत आती है. Being a contract, there must be an agreement. But it is not necessary all the agreements are contract, because if agreement is enforceable by law, it is contract. If not enforceable by law, it is not a contract. Right? So agreement, all agreements are not contract, but all contracts are agreement. इसको एक बार रीड कीजिएगा बच्चों. Now topic is essential elements of a valid contract. Essential elements of a valid contract. एक मिनट. Essential elements of a valid contract are given in 2 ways. First, as per section 10, section 10 defines the essential element for a valid contract, but some other sections are there, some other sections which define the essentiality, which are essential element for the valid contract. So as per section 10, there must be an agreement, there must be a free consent, competency. Parties for agreement to be competent to enter into contract. The consideration must be lawful, object should be lawful and not expressly declared void, which is defined in section 24 to 30 and section 56 specifically. Beside these, there must be 2 parties. Intention to create a legal relationship. There must not be a social agreement, fulfillment of legal formalities, certainty of meaning. Meaning should be certain possibility of performance. So I will discuss each and everything one by one in details. First is there must be offer and acceptance. So law says there must be 2 parties. One is making the offer and other is accepting that offer. Single person cannot make contact with himself. एक आदमी अपने आप से कांटेक्ट नहीं कर सकता, कम से कम 2 पार्टीज होनी चाहिए. तो see the example. A offers B to sell his watch for rupees 500. B does not give his acceptance. तो A ने पूछा B से, क्या तुम मेरी घड़ी 500 में खरीदोगे? B ने कहा नहीं भैया. और there is no contract because offer is there but acceptance is not. 2 parties, one making the offer but other is not accepting, it means there is no contract. One more example in case of state of Gujarat versus Ramanlal S and Company. Actually, what happened in this case, the partnership firm Ramanlal S and Company was dissolved and after the dissolution they have distributed the asset among the partners. The sale tax department said that this is the sale of asset from partnership firm to the partners. फर्म डिसॉल्व हुई, सारी एसेट पार्टनर बांटी गई। सेल टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट ने कहा कि भैया ये तो सेल हो गई, फर्म ने पार्टनर को एसेट बेच दी, एंड दिस डिमांड बिकॉज इट इज सेल, दिस डिमांड द सेल टैक्स टू बी डिपॉजिटेड ऑन दिस transaction. But court said firm and partners are the same thing. Firm and because for the transaction of firm partners are liable. So this is not the two parties, this is only one party, and one party cannot sell the goods to himself. So what the law says, when on the dissolution of partnership firm, the asset of the firm to tax this transaction, it was held that it was not a sale. The partners being joint owner of those assets cannot be both buyer and seller. बच्चों 1 मिनट का पॉज ले रहा हूं मैं, 1 मिनट का मुझे पॉज दीजिए। Okay. टेक्निकल सुन पा रहे हैं क्या मुझे? टेक्निकल में सुन पा रहे हैं क्या? आईसीआई से कोई है?
यस सर।
अभी मैंने पूर्वी को, अग्रवाल को मैंने रिमूव किया है, उसे ऐड मत करिएगा, ठीक है?
ओके सर।
ओके, so this point says, this example says कि पार्टनरशिप फर्म अगर डिसोल्यूशन के टाइम पर अपनी असेट पार्टनर्स को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रही है तो ये सेल नहीं है, ये क्योंकि पार्टनरशिप और पार्टनर सेम थे इसलिए सेल नहीं मनाई जाएगी, इसलिए ओनली डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। तो इस केस में पूरी एक ही पार्टी है तो वो खुद ही अपने आप में बायर सेलर दोनों नहीं हो सकते। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इंटेंशन टू क्रिएट अ लीगल रिलेशनशिप। there should not be a social agreement. There should not be a social agreement. The famous case on this point is Balfour versus Balfour, which says a husband agreed to pay his wife certain amount as maintenance every month while he was abroad. Husband failed to pay the promised amount. Wife sued him for the recovery of amount. Here in this case, wife could not recover as it was a social agreement and party did not no intention to create a legal relationship. एक हस्बैंड ने प्रॉमिस किया वाइफ को कि मैं अब बाहर जा रहा हूं, मैं खर्चे के पैसे भेजता रहूंगा, बट उसने पैसे नहीं भेजे। वाइफ ने सूट फाइल किया कोर्ट में कि भैया इसने मुझे प्रॉमिस किया था पैसे भेजेगा, खर्चे के नहीं भेज रहा है। कोर्ट ने कहा भैया ये आपका घर का मैटर है, सोशल एग्रीमेंट है, ये लीगल नहीं है, हम इसमें आपको कोई मदद नहीं कर सकते, ये आपको अपने आप ही निपटना पड़ेगा। So the famous case Balfour versus Balfour, in which it is decided the agreement should be like that to create a legal relationship. There must not be a social nature agreement. The one more example, Mr. L promised to pay 5 lakhs to his son if son passes the CA exam. On passing the exam, the son claims the money. Here the son could not recover as it was a social agreement. As it was a social agreement. एक फादर ने प्रॉमिस किया कि 5 लाख के मैं आपको दूंगा अगर आपने सीए एग्जाम क्वालिफाई कर लिया। तो उन्होंने कहा भैया आप अगर कर भी लेंगे तो आप कोर्ट से क्लेम नहीं कर सकते, कोर्ट से क्लेम नहीं कर सकते, ये सोशल एग्रीमेंट। सी एग्जाम्पल नंबर 5, A sold goods to B on a condition that he must pay for the amount of goods within 30 days. This is the amount which creating a legal relationship. कि ए ने प्रॉमिस किया गुड्स बेचेगा वो, उसे पेमेंट मिलेगा 30 दिन में, ये लीगल एग्रीमेंट है, परफेक्टली लीगल एग्रीमेंट है। अगर वो पेमेंट नहीं करता है तो बाय कोर्ट ही कैन क्लेम। लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज, लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज मींस, अच्छा एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है हर बैच में, अभी फिर सुबह से शुरू हो गई प्रॉब्लम कि सर इंग्लिश में समझाइए। सम पीपल सेज कि भैया हिंदी में बताइए। आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग, आई एम यूजिंग द इंग्लिश इन वेरी इजी वर्ड्स, बहुत इजी शब्द यूज कर रहा हूँ, हिंदी वालों के लिए कर रहा हूँ बच्चों में। कोशिश कीजिए समझने की, फिर भी उसके बाद भी मुझे कहीं लगता है कोई टेक्निकल है तो मैं उसको हिंदी में रिपीट करता हूँ, राइट? ध्यान दीजिए। दूसरा, एक स्टूडेंट है, लास्ट टाइम भी बैच में थे, उससे पहले भी थे, एक विजुअल अरोड़ा करके आ रहा है नाम मेरे पास। इनकी एक ही समस्या होती है कि सर आप प्रीवियस स्लाइड दिखा दीजिए। एक एक 2-2 3-3 मिनट रहती है प्रीवियस स्लाइड। सर प्लीज कॉन्सेंट्रेट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू गिविंग यू, प्लीज ध्यान दीजिए सर। प्रीवियस स्लाइड चक्कर में चलेंगे तो आगे का निकलता चला जाएगा। ध्यान सुनिए, और ज्यादा लगता है आपको तो प्लीज रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर अवेलेबल है, उस पर बैक कीजिए, बाकी बच्चों का टाइम भी खराब होता है चीज, ठीक है? लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज, वेयर एवर अ लीगल फॉर्मेलिटी, सपोज as per the law, sometimes it is required some special formalities like the agreement should be in writing, like agreement should be registered as per the law. So these are the legal formalities. Agreement may be oral, may be specific. Agreement may be oral, may be specific. But if for some particular type of contract or agreement, law says that it should be registered, it should be written. So if this contract is not written, then it is not a valid contract. So these are called the legal formalities. Wherever a particular type of contract required by law to be in writing and registered, it must comply with the necessary formalities as to the writing, attestation and registration, otherwise unenforceable. We cannot enforce. See the example. Where it requires an agreement to make a gift for natural love and affection, there must be written in writing, registered. Law says if you are giving something without consideration to your near one on account of natural love and affection, this agreement may be without consideration, but it should be written and registered. So this agreement, if it is not written or written but not registered, it is not a valid agreement. It cannot be enforced. Contract of insurance should be in writing, otherwise they are not valid. Attestation means certified. Next essential, certainty of meaning. Certainty of meaning means agreement must be clear. Agreement must be clear, must be certain and not vague. See, suppose I am offering Mr. A, will you purchase my car? And I have 3 cars, so I have to make clear which car I want to sell. Otherwise, this agreement is not a valid. The agreement must be certain, not vague or definite. See example number 8. A agrees to sell to B 200 tons of oil. There is nothing certain in order to show what kind of alva is intended for. एग्रीमेंट किया गया, ए ने बी से कहा कि मैं 200 टन आपको तेल बेचूंगा, लेकिन कौन सा वाला ये नहीं पता. दिस इज नॉट अ वैलिड एग्रीमेंट बिकॉज द क्वालिटी वाज नॉट certain. One more example on this point, XYZ Limited agreed to lease the land to Mr. A for definite years. The contract is not valid as the period of lease is not mentioned. Indefinite period. भैया certain करो. Indefinite is not a certain period. It cannot be. This agreement is not valid as the period is not certain. Vague, not clear. Right? Okay. Possibility of performance. So this point says, this essential element says, the agreement for which two persons are entering, that performance of that agreement should be possible. कि भाई जो आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हो ना, वो पॉसिबल तो हो. जो एग्रीमेंट आप कर रहे हो, जिस काम के लिए कर रहे हो, वो एक काम पॉसिबल होना चाहिए, परफॉर्म किया जा सके. द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच यू आर एंटरिंग should be possible to perform. See example number 10. A agrees with B to put the life in his dead wife. A ने B से कहा मैं तुम्हारी मरी हुई वाइफ में जान डाल दूंगा. This is not possible. So this agreement is not a valid agreement. See, section 56 provides the terms of the agreement should be capable of performance. Should be capable of performance. An agreement to do an act impossible itself cannot be enforced. एक मिनट रुकिए. एक मिनट रुकिए बच्चों, पढ़िए इसको जरा एक बार. एक मिनट क्वेरी देख लूं बच्चों आपकी. टेक्निकल सुन पा रहे हैं क्या मुझे?
जी सर, प्लीज बताएं.
सर किसी को भी अलाउ नहीं कीजिएगा अभी ग्रुप में आने के लिए, है मतलब ऐड क्लास में ऐड करने के लिए, आप किसी बच्चे को भी ना. ठीक है, जो आ गए हैं उनको आ गए रहने दीजिए, जहां मुझे लगेगा तो मैं उसको देख लूंगा, बट आप प्लीज किसी को भी ऐड मत कीजिएगा. ठीक है
ओके सर, बट सर न्यू स्टूडेंट कोई ज्वाइन करता है तो उसको तो एडमिट
सर.
सर करना
अभी
पड़ेगा.
बैच काफी टाइम हो चुका, मैं अभी इंस्टीट्यूट से बात कर रहा हूँ, मुझे 1 मिनट का पॉज ले रहा हूँ, है ना. इंस्टीट्यूट से कोई मिला मैं बात करके देखता हूँ, देन आई विल कॉल यू. अभी मैं क्लास में ही हूँ, लेकिन मैं अभी अनम्यूट पे जा रहा हूँ 1 मिनट के लिए. ठीक है,
ओके सर.
कुछ इशू आ रहा है. ठीक है. ठीक है. So the contract should be like that possible to perform. ऐसा ना हो कि जो चीज आप डिसाइड कर रहे हैं वो पॉसिबल ही ना हो. That contract is not valid. One more example on this point. Suppose one person says, sir, I will find the money by magic. I will find the treasure by magic. This is just impossible. So this type of agreement are invalid because it is not possible to perform. Next essential element is free consent. Unit number second part of the unit number 3, we will discuss this topic in detail. We will discuss this topic in detail, but first we have to understand the basic concept about the free consent. So in this line, there are two words. First is consent and second is free consent. दो शब्द हैं, एक consent और एक free consent. Consent और एक free consent. Right? First of all, consent means acceptance, clarity, acceptance on the basis of clarity. Suppose A and B enters into a contract. A and B enters into a contract for sale of plant. A asks B, will you purchase my plant? A is asking about this plant, but B is thinking about this plant and machinery. Both are plant, but the thing in both mind are different. दोनों के दिमाग में बात अलग अलग. B is saying yes, but he is thinking about plant and machinery. So he is not consent. He is not giving his consent. वो हाँ कह रहा है. His acceptance is not consent. So where two persons are agreeing on the different thing in their mind, this is not the consent. This is not the consent. So for consent, the parties should be agree on the same thing in the same sense. Should be agree upon the same thing in the same sense, then it is called consent. If there is no consent, there is no contract. So consent in short is called same thing in the same sense, and in the language of law it is called consensus ad idem. Consensus. There is no consensus, there is no contract. Now come to the free consent. Section 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 8, 20, 21, 22 are connected with the topic free consent. We will discuss this topic in lecture number 3 and lecture number 4 in details. But basic idea about the consent I have given you. Now come to the free consent. Free consent means consent without any pressure, without any dominance. कोई ना pressure हो, कोई dominance ना हो, अपनी मर्जी से voluntary consent is called free consent. Suppose A asks B, will you sell your car for 10 rupees? A asks B, will you sell your car for 10 rupees? B says no, but A shows him gun, and then B say, okay sir, I will sell you my car for 10 rupees. So the B is giving the consent, but his consent is not free. A ने B से पूछा, क्या तुम अपनी कार 10 रुपए में बेचोगे? B ने कहा नहीं. A ने गन दिखाई. B ने कहा ओके बेच दूंगा. तो B ने हाँ तो की, B ने हाँ तो किया, लेकिन ये कंसेंट जो थी वो फ्री नहीं थी, उसे दबाव में डर के मारे किया. दिस इज नॉट अ फ्री कंसेंट. कम टू द एग्जांपल नंबर 11. A who owns 2 cars is selling red car to B. B thinks he is purchasing the black car. There is no consent, क्योंकि क्लियरिटी नहीं थी. ए के पास 2 कार है, ए रेड बेच रहा है लेकिन बी ब्लैक समझ रहा है, तो कंसेंट नहीं मानी जाएगी. कंसेंट नहीं होगी तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं होगा. Now free consent. Once again, consent is said not to be free when it is weighted मतलब affected by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation or mistake. Coercion means physical pressure, undue influence, moral pressure, fraud, धोखाधड़ी. Misrepresentation, you can say genuine fraud without intention, and mistake गलती से. We will discuss in unit in on day 3 and 4 in details. So this example what I have discussed with you, the example number 12, I have just discussing. A threatened to should be if he does not lend him 2 lakh rupees and B agreed to it. A ने B से कहा अगर तुमने मुझे 2 लाख रुपए नहीं दिए मैं तो गोली मार दूंगा. B ने कहा ओके दे दूंगा मैं. ये दिया तो सही लेकिन प्रेशर में, दबाव में. This is called coercion. This is called coercion. एक सेकंड. This is called coercion. So in such cases, listen, please note, कभी कहीं पर एक नोट कर लीजिए कहीं पेपर पे, where the consent is voided by coercion, undue influence, fraud and misrepresentation only, the contract is voidable. What is voidable? We will discuss after the break, but contract is voidable. Voidable means the contract is not void but can be void. Not void but can be void. Voided means you can say the affected by. Right? पढ़िए इसको एक बार.
टेक्निकल सपोर्ट.
Yes, please.
सर टेक्निकल सपोर्ट में संकेत जी, हेलो संकेत जी, मैम को होस्ट कर दीजिए.
एक क्वेश्चन है सर, if there is any case which is not possible today but may be possible in future, which is like time machine or anything like that, so if agrees to make the time machine for B, it will be valid or not. इनका कहना यह है कि सर अभी पॉसिबल नहीं है लेकिन फ्यूचर पॉसिबल होगा. तो फ्यूचर किसने देखा है भैया? कह रही है टाइम मशीन बनाने का मैं कॉन्टेक्ट करूं किसी से, भैया बना लो, हम भी पुराने जमाने में पहुंच जाएंगे. बट एज पर लॉ दिस इज अ वॉइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. टाइम मशीन बनाना आज की तारीख में इम्पॉसिबल है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज वॉइड. Capacity to enter into the contract. Competent parties मतलब the parties who are capable to enter into the contract. As per the section 11 and 12, every person is competent to enter into the contract provided he is the age of majority. जो मेजर होगा he can enter into the contract. Who is of sound mind? Means who can understand what he is getting in his mind. जो समझ सकता हो कि दिमाग क्या, जो कोई समझ सकता हो चीजों को, उसे हम बोलते हैं साउंड माइंड. राइट. एक सेकेंड. साउंड माइंड. But as per law, and come to the next point, is not disqualified from contracting by any law to which he is subject. So one thing, the person should be major. Major means he is of the 18 years, who is of sound mind. In fact, we can say he is not unsound mind. Unsound mind का मतलब क्या होता है? जो unsound mind ना हो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर सकता है. Unsound mind means the person who is not getting sound in his mind. जैसे दिमाग में कुछ जा ही नहीं रहा है, हम उससे कुछ कह रहे हैं, he is not getting anything in his mind. This is the person of unsound mind. आम बोलचाल की भाषा में you can say mad person, पागल है. और लॉ कहता है पागल भी 3 तरह के होते हैं. फर्स्ट इज इडियट, सेकंड lunatic, third is intoxicant. I am just giving the brief idea on these 3 points because we will discuss the unit number 3 in detail. So I am just giving the brief idea. As per the law, idiot person means the person who is totally unsound. 24 घंटे पागल रहता हो, idiot. The contract with this person is void. Second is lunatic. Lunatic means the person who is normally a unsound person, but sometimes he may be normally unsound person, but sometimes he may be a sound person. मतलब कह सकते हैं 24 में से 23 घंटे पागल रहता हो और कभी कभी सही हो जाता हो. दिस इज कॉल्ड ल्यूनेटिक. So this person can enter into the contract only when he is of sound mind. And third person is intoxicate. Normally सही रहता है, पर कभी कभार कुछ लगा लिया तो दिमाग ने काम करना बंद कर दिया. Normally he is sound mind, but occasionally unsound mind. So this person cannot enter into the contract when he is of unsound mind and is disqualified from contracting. Or कोई, it means third category says the person is perfectly a major, he is of sound mind, but specifically law define these categories. These contract with these person is not valid. These person cannot enter into contract. So these are the disqualified person specifically by the law. Next point है consideration. Unit number 2. Something in return. Consideration means an advantage or benefit moving from one party to another. In simple words, something in return. Suppose I enter into a contract with Mr. X to sell my car for 2 lakh rupees. Suppose I enter into the contract with Mr. X to purchase to sell my car for 2 lakh rupees. What I am giving? I am giving my car. What I am getting in return? 2 lakh rupees. So 2 lakh rupees is the consideration for me. 2 lakh rupees consideration for me. And what is the consideration for Mr. X? Is the car. Mr. X is giving 2 lakh rupees and what he is getting in return is the car. So car is the consideration. So consideration means something in return. What I am getting in return as per the contract is the consideration. Consideration means an advantage or benefit moving from one party to the other. In simple words, it means something in return. Quid pro quo, एक Latin word है, Latin phrase है. It may be past, present, or future, but it must be real and lawful. At this point, you have just idea what is the meaning of consideration. What is the legal provisions of consideration? We will discuss on the class in Wednesday, unit number 2. See the example. A agrees to sell his book to B for rupees 100. Here rupees 100 is the consideration for A and book for B. One more example, listen. A promised to drop prosecution instituted against B for the robbery and B promises to restore the value of things taken. ए ने कहा बी से कि भैया आपने मेरे घर में रॉबरी की थी, डकैती की थी, डाली थी, मैं आपके खिलाफ केस फाइल नहीं करूंगा. बी ने कहा सर मैं जो पैसा कमाया वो मैं आपको वापस कर दूंगा. ए प्रॉमिस द रॉबर मिस्टर बी दैट आई विल नॉट फाइल द सूट अगेंस्ट यू. I will not file the suit against you. B promise that I will return all the things what I have stolen from your house. This is a void agreement because the act done by Mr. B is illegal. B ने जो काम किया वो इलीगल था. किसी को इलीगल काम से पनिशमेंट से बचाने का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या हो गया? ऑटोमेटिकली void हो. In this example number 14, A is defending Mr. B for which act which should be punished, right? So consideration means something in return, but it should be lawful. It should be lawful. In example number 13, the consideration is lawful. In example number 14, consideration was not lawful. The object, the purpose of the contract must be lawful. If the purpose is illegal, against the law, immoral, bad character, or against the public, opposed to public policy, it is unlawful. And in this case, contract is See the example. A agrees to give rupees 50,000 to B for murder of C. A ने B से कहा भैया मैं तुम्हें 50,000 दूंगा C का मर्डर कर. The act is unlawful. The contract is void. A agrees to give rupees 50,000 to B for murder of C. The object is unlawful. The purpose is unlawful. Contract is. And last point for essential elements, if the agreement not expressly declared void, means the agreement have all the essentials which I have discussed from point number 1 to point number 9. The agreement having all the essentials which I have discussed in point number 1 to 9, but even that the government or the lawmakers have made this contract void specifically. So even that all the essentials are there, contract will be void. The agreement not expressly declared void. If any contract is specifically declared void, it cannot be a valid contract, even it has all the essential from point number 1 to 9. The agreement must not be one which the law declares to be either illegal or void. Illegal agreement is the agreement expressly or impliedly prohibited by law, जो कहीं ना कहीं लॉ को ओवररूल कर रहा है. दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज illegal. See the example 16. Agreement in restraint of trade, marriage, legal proceedings are void agreement. Those agreements prohibited by Indian Penal Code. Now this time it is BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Threat to commit murder or publishing defamatory statements or agreements which are opposed to public policy are illegal in nature. One person is asking, Mr. Ayush is asking, sir, illegal void are same. Listen, beta. All illegal are void. All illegal are void, but all voids are not necessarily illegal, because there may be some other reasons which are not illegal. Even the contract is void. For example, contract entered by minor, it is void. Suppose A and B enter into contract. Suppose I enters into contract with Mr. X to sell my car for 2 lakh rupees. But on the date of delivery, the car is damaged by suppose third person so badly that cannot be sold. The contract is void, right? It is not illegal, but even the contract is void. All contracts are agreement, but all agreement are not contract, right, beta? और क्या query है? So it is necessary to write in the exam. If you can learn, you can mention, otherwise not. इनका कहना है सर लैटिन वर्ड जो आ रहे हैं लॉ में, क्या हमें लिखना है? अगर आप याद कर सकते हैं तो प्लीज लिखिए. You will get the benefit definitely. Okay. So this time, the time to check whether you are aware, whether you are active, you are giving your concentration in the class, to check. So this in the form of legal Premier League. Listen. Some of students maybe have, I think मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कुछ स्टूडेंट पुराने भी हैं, but all the new students should listen my words. I will ask 6 questions on this topic, on what I have discussed in the previous 1 hour. You have to give in the answers, but only in one message. एक साथ आंसर देने, you should not give the answer one by one, right? Give the answer, all the 6 answers at one shot, one message in your chat box. And who will give the, I will take the name of 5 students who will give all the 5 correct answers first, right? So let's start. First question. The Indian Contract Act 1872 applicable with effect from 1st August 1872, 1st September 1872, 1st October 1872, 1st November 1872. अरे भैया सुन लो, पहले बात तो सुनो सब लोग. कितना मतलब मुझे अभी मैंने अभी 1 सेकंड पहले बोला कि आंसर एक साथ भेजने हैं, लेकिन यू हैव टू शो दैट यू आर वेरी स्मार्ट. आई नो ऑल ऑफ यू आर वेरी स्मार्ट, बट प्लीज अभी मेरी एक बात नहीं समझ पाए तो मुझे 1 घंटे से पढ़ा रहा हूँ, वो क्या समझाऊंगा आपने. आंसर एक साथ भेजना, एक साथ, वन बाय वन मत भेजना. आई विल नॉट टेक योर नेम. ठीक है. समझ में आ गई सबके बात. एवरीबडी इज रेडी. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. A contract is defined under which section of Indian Contract Act 1872, Section 2, Clause E, Section 2, Clause H, Section 10, Section 2, Clause A. देखो फिर वही, एक बार ऐसी हुआ बैच में, पता है, एक बार ऐसी बच्चे बात मान नहीं रहे थे, तो मैंने बैच में बोला कि देखो, गुरु की बात तो भगवान भी मान लेता है, और गुरु की बात जो नहीं मानता है, जो स्टूडेंट नहीं मानता है ना, भगवान उसके 5 नंबर कम कर देते हैं. भगवान, इस समय तो भगवान भी हुआ है. ठीक है ना. तो बस अब मत भेजना, एक साथ भेजना. एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है ना, कि इतने सारे हैं तो मैं सही चीज पढ़ ही नहीं पाता हूँ, सही आंसर में देख ही नहीं पाता हूँ. ठीक है ना. एक साथ भेजना सारे आंसर. एग्रीमेंट इक्वल टू ऑफर प्लस एक्सेप्टेंस प्लस इंटेंशन, कंसिडरेशन, ऑब्जेक्ट, लीगल ऑब्लिगेशन. A social agreement like a father promising pocket money to his son is valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, not a contract. An agreement not intended to create a legal relation is illegal, void, social, and not a contract, quasi contract. A person cannot contract with himself because the contracts become void. Law prohibits it. There must be two parties. No consideration arises. So let's start the answers. Indian Contract Act 1872 applicable with effect from 1st September 1872. A contract is defined under which section of the Indian Contract Act? Section 2, Clause H. Agreement equals to offer plus acceptance plus consideration. A social agreement like a father promising pocket money to his son is not a contract because it is a social nature. An agreement not intended to create legal relation is social and not a contract. A person cannot contract with himself because there must be a two parties. So let's check. First 5 names who have given all the correct answers. Mr. Vishnu, Satyam Raj, Ikra, Supriyo Ghosh, and last one is Mr. Harshit Sarogi. So we have completed the first part of unit number one. And at this place we are having a break of 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes we will rejoin. 5 मिनट का ब्रेक ले लीजिए, उसके बाद ज्वाइन करते हैं.
संकेत जी.
ओके सर. करें क्या?
Please continue, sir.
Okay, sir. So now the topic is classification of contract. So contract is classified by law in different categories on the different basis. So we are discussing one by one. On the basis of validity, on the basis of formation, on the basis of performance. On the basis of validity, contract is defined as valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, illegal contract, unenforceable contract. On the basis of formation, contract is defined as express contract, implied contract, quasi-contract, e-commerce contract. And on the basis of performance, contract is defined as executive contract and executory contract. Further, executory contract is defined as unilateral contract and bilateral contract. Now we are going to discuss each contract one by one. Please listen, everyone. I will allow you to discuss your query. I will unmute you at the last 15 minutes. So please don't raise your hand. And if you have any query, text me. आई विल टेक योर क्वेरी हिमानी, अभी बीच में ले लूंगा, बीच में अभी कहीं पर, ठीक है। अभी आपकी क्वेरी जो है 6 पॉइंट का एग्जाम्पल आई विल डिस्कस, बट एट दिस पॉइंट प्लीज कॉन्सेंट्रेट व्हाट आई एम गिविंग यू। On the basis of validity, first type of contract is valid contract. Valid contract means the contract which contains all the essential elements which I have already discussed with you. Suppose, see the example number 17. A asks B if he wants to buy his bike for 10,000. B agrees to buy the bike. This is a perfectly valid act and is enforceable by valid contract. Void contract, if something is missing in the contract which is the essential requirement. अगर कोई essential missing है, then it is a void contract. C, a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law, जिसे हम enforce नहीं कर सकते, claim नहीं कर सकते, that is the void contract. See the suppose agreement without consideration, अगर agreement कर रहे हैं consideration ही नहीं है, it is void contract. Consideration or object is unlawful. A contract with B, see the example number 19. A contract with B, the owner of factory, for supply of 10 tons of sugar, but before the supply is effected, the fire caught in the factory and everything was destroyed. Everything was destroyed. Here the contract become void. Contract void. See the example number 20 once again. Mr. X agrees to write a book with publisher. Such contract is valid. But after few days, X dies in an accident. Here the contract become void due to the impossibility of performance of the contract. क्या हुआ? Contract किया राइटिंग के लिए, बुक राइटिंग के लिए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैलिड था, बट क्या हुआ, कुछ समय बाद जो राइटर था उसकी डेथ हो जाती, एक्सीडेंट. Now contract become impossible to perform. Impossible to perform. This contract now becomes void contract. Voidable contract. In before the break, I have discussed you that I will discuss the contract voidable after the break. So come to the point, voidable contract. If the voidable means the contract is valid but can be void by any part. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैलिड है, सब कुछ सही है, लेकिन एक पार्टी पर राइट है उसे वॉइड करने. नॉर्मली द वॉइडेबल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इन three conditions. See, section 2 clause I defines an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more party there too, but not at the option of other or others. एक पास valid है लेकिन दूसरे पर right है उसे void करने का. The contract is voidable normally in three conditions. First, where the consent is not free. Where the consent of a party is not free, where the party has given the consent on any pressure, so he has right to make the contract void. Suppose A enters into a contract with Mr. B to sell his house for 5,000 rupees at the gun point. उन्होंने गन दिखाई, पूरा घर 5,000 रुपए में खरीदना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर लिया. Law says there must be a consideration in the contract, but law never says the consideration must be of the equal value. Law ये कहता है भैया consideration होना चाहिए पर बराबर की वैल्यू का हो. It is not a requirement of the law. कि भैया जरूरत नहीं है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बराबर का, जरूरी नहीं कि जो कंसिडरेशन है वो बराबर की वैल्यू का हो, कम भी हो सकता है. If one person voluntarily wants to sell anything at a less value, it is a valid contract. अगर कोई आदमी अपनी मर्जी से कुछ कम में बेचना चाहता है, सपोज वैल्यू 10,000 रुपए की है, वो 2,000 बेचना चाहता है, अपनी मर्जी से, कोई प्रेशर नहीं है, इट इज परफेक्टली वैलिड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. सो इफ a contract was entered between A and B by which B will sell the house to Mr. A for 5,000 rupees, it is perfectly valid because consideration even low, but there is consideration. Now, in this case, B has to prove that his consent was under the threat. उसने यहाँ B को कहना पड़ेगा कि भैया उसने जो कंसेंट दी थी ना, वो धमकी में दी थी. His consent is not free. If B says, then contract can be void. So where the consent is not free, contract is voidable. At the time of making, it is valid, but can be void by the party whose consent is not free. First condition. See, at a gunpoint, A asks B to sell his car for 100 rupees. B gives his consent, but contract is voidable at the option of B. B के पास पावर है कि भैया ऐसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइड कर सकता है. B का मन नहीं है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफेक्टली वैलिड माना जाए. If B does not make the action to make the contract void, contract is perfectly valid. Please give the 1 minute on this slide. Sir, if B does not have any issue with being kept at gunpoint, the contract is valid. Yes, definitely. Which is not the new rule, new act. Tell me. एक बच्चे ने लिखा है सर क्या हमें नए एक्ट लिखने हैं. कौन सा नया एक्ट है? कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट कब नया आया? वही चल रहा है भाई. Next point. When a person promise to do something for another person, but the other person prevent him for performing his promise, the contract become voidable at the option of the first person. It means contract was entered, one person wants to perform, but other is stopping him to perform, other is preventing him to perform. दो लोगों में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ, दो लोगों में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ, एक परफॉर्म करना चाहता है, दूसरा मना कर रहा है, and the contract can be void at the option of the second person. So first is where contract is voidable, where the consent is not free. Second, one person wants to perform but other is preventing him to perform. C, there is a contract between A and B to sell car of A to B for rupees 22 lakh. On due date of performance, A asks B that he does not want to sell his car. Here contract is voidable at the option of B. A ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया A और B में कि A B को कार बेचेगा 2 लाख रुपए में, ड्यू डेट पर A ने मना कर दी कार बेचने से, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या होगा? वॉइडेबल किसके ऑप्शन पे? अदर पार्टी, राइट? एंड थर्ड पार्ट, when a party to contract promised to perform a work within a specified time and other party could not perform in that time. एक पार्टी ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को दो के बीच में और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया बी ने कि भैया मैं इतने टाइम में परफॉर्म कर देंगे, बट अगर वो नहीं करता है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज वॉइडेबल एट द ऑप्शन ऑफ अदर पार्टी. इज एग्जांपल. A agrees to construct a house for B up to 31st March 2025, but A could not complete the house on that date. Here the contract is voidable at the option of B. A ने प्रॉमिस किया कि वो 31 मार्च तक घर को कंप्लीट कर देगा, लेकिन B ने A ने कंप्लीट नहीं किया, तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कौन तोड़ सकता है, कौन वॉइड कर सकता है? B कैन वॉइड द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, राइट? You can mention new act BNS or BNSS. ठीक है. Actually, I think Ayush, your contract is belongs to unit number 4. So at that place we will discuss. Sir, अगर third party, if the third party finds that B is under caution and cannot do anything but to simply accept, can third party file against A? Complaint can be filed only by the party under the contract. Third party who is not in the contract cannot file. सर आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं ना आयुष जी, ये सारी यूनिट नंबर 4 से कनेक्टेड है, तो आप वहां पूछिए, और मेरे ख्याल से वहां भी आपको जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, क्योंकि जब हम पढ़ेंगे तो क्लियर हो जाएंगे, राइट? सर once the contract is found voidable, then there is no further action, right sir? Then it is void itself. No, if a contract is voidable, so till the time party making the void, it is perfectly valid. Sir, in this session, which questions are important? Even in this session, even all the session, even all the classes of foundation interfinal, all which are giving in the class on session, it is equally important. If this no important, if it is not important for you, it will not be in the class. So what is giving in the class, it is equally important. Concentrate. एक सेकंड बच्चा, एक क्वेरी और देख लूं बच्चे की है. In example 20, what actually given, contract becomes subsequently void because of circumstances. In example number 23, contract is not void, it is voidable, right? Because in this example, A could not complete the work as per the time schedule decided in the contract. Okay. So this is a question of a difference between void and voidable contract. You have, and these are 4 points. Please read carefully and learn these points. A question of 4 marks may be asked in your exam on this topic. Now, illegal contract. Illegal contract means the contract which is forbidden by law. If any act is forbidden, prohibited by law, and you are entering the contract for that act, contract is illegal, and illegal contract are always void. All illegal contracts are always void. अगर कोई ऐसा काम करते हैं लॉ ने करने से मना किया है तो भैया इलीगल होगा, और इलीगल हमेशा void होगा. See, all illegal agreements are void, but all void agreements are not necessarily illegal. Contract that is immoral, bad character, opposed to public policy, means anything against the public or illegal in nature, or agrees with us to purchase brown sugar, prohibited drug, illegal agreement. Contract to commit crime, again illegal agreement. Forbidden matlab prohibited. Unenforceable contract. Unenforceable contract means contract is good in substance, everything is okay, but some technical defects are pending. Some technical defects are pending. Some technical defects. Example 27, like unsigned check. Check is already given for payment, but it is not signed, it cannot be claimed. C, if the contract is time barred means that if the contract pass 3 years, the contract become time barred. It cannot be claimed after the 3 years. एक contract किया आपने 3 साल तक पेमेंट नहीं लिया, क्या हो गया, time barred हो गया, फिर आप claim नहीं कर सकते. C, A bought goods from B in 2018, but no payment was made till 2022. 18 में contract किया, 22 तक payment ही नहीं हुआ. B cannot sue for the payment in 2022 because it has crossed 3 years and it is barred by Limitation Act. Limitation Act कहता है कि भैया कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो जाए 3 साल तक पेमेंट नहीं लिया आपने, उससे बात भी नहीं की, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या हो गया, टाइम बार्ड, अब आप क्लेम नहीं कर सकते, भूल गया वो और आप भी भूल जाओ. So contract was entered in 2018, but payment is not recovered till 2022. 2022. 3 years have been passed, so it becomes the time barred. It cannot be enforced. Difference between void agreement and legal agreement, please read carefully. Again, I'm saying the question may be asked for 4 marks on these points. But whenever, my humble request to all of you, whenever you are answering the question based on the differences, so one additional column should be made for basis, on which basis you are differentiating these 2 points, right? Now, classification on the basis of formation. Express contract by words spoken or written. बोल के या लिख के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया उसे क्या बोलेंगे, express contract. See the example. A tells B on telephone that he offers to sell his house for ₹2 lakhs, and B in reply informs A that he accepts the offer. This is express contract. A ने B से कहा, क्या फोन पे बात की, क्या तुम मेरा घर 2 लाख में खरीदोगे? B ने कहा ठीक है खरीद लेते हैं. This is the express contract. Express contract may be by oral, may be by written. Implied contract, neither oral nor written, only by conduct or action. It is also called tacit contract, where the proposal or acceptance is otherwise than in word, by action or conduct of parties. Where a coolie in uniform picks up the luggage of A to be carried out of the railway station without being asked by A, and A allows him to do so, it is an implied contract. आप ट्रेन से उतरे, एक कुली आया, उसने बैग उठाया, आपने कहा ले ले भैया. It means the coolie is making a implied offer by his conduct to pick your baggage and take out of the railway station. And you are silent means you are giving your implied acceptance for the offer of coolie. So this is the implied contract. आप ट्रेन से उतरे, कुली आया, आप सामान उठाया, आपने कहा आपने कुछ कहा ही नहीं, चल दिए साथ में। इसका मतलब कुलीन ने आपको ऑफर किया इम्प्लाइडली और आपने इम्प्लाइडली इसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। दिस इज कॉल्ड इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। सम मोर एग्जांपल्स और ऑफ इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट: एंटर इनटू बस विदाउट आस्किंग एनीथिंग फ्रॉम द बस कंडक्टर, आप बस में चले गए। ऑब्टेनिंग कैश थ्रू एटीएम, सेल बाय फॉल ऑफ हैमर एट एन ऑक्शन सेल। ऑक्शन समझते हैं? ऑक्शन, नीलामी। नीलामी में लोग बिड करते हैं और जो हायर बिड करता है कहता ओके गो गो एंड गॉन, हैमर उसने पटका, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कंप्लीट। इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। क्वासी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। क्वासी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेसिकली are not contract created, they are created by situation. I am taking an example. I have ordered for 50 kg wheat a shopkeeper which to be delivered at my house. The shopkeeper says, okay sir, I will make the delivery at your house, and then you, after that you will make the payment. The hawker of the shopkeeper mistakenly delivered the wheat at the house of nearby of my house, at house nearby my house, मतलब मेरे घर के पास घर था पड़ोसी का, उसके यहाँ ड्रॉप कर and that neighbor has consumed, has taken as his goods, his wheat. Contract originally entered between me and the shopkeeper. The contract originally entered between me and the shopkeeper, but contract is performed between shopkeeper and my neighbor. So I'm asking the question with you: who is liable to make the payment? Who should be liable to make the payment? Whether me or my neighbor? आंसर कीजिए, कौन लाइबल है? मैंने गेहूं का ऑर्डर किया शॉपकीपर को, शॉपकीपर ने भेजा गलती से मेरे नेबर के पास चला गया और नेबर ने उसे अपना समझ के रख लिया, तो कौन पेमेंट किसको करना है? अब संदीप आपका आंसर यस है, बाकी लोगों का समवन सेइंग नेबर, पर नेबर से कांटेक्ट हुआ ही नहीं था। नेबर इज सेइंग सर मेरे से तो देयर वाज नो कांटेक्ट विद मी, देन व्हाई आई शुड मेक द पेमेंट? सम ऑफ यू आर सेइंग सर यू, बट आई एम नॉट गेटिंग द डिलीवरी एंड विदाउट लीव व्हाई शुड आई मेक द पेमेंट? भैया नेबर कह रहा है मेरे से कांटेक्ट नहीं हो तो पेमेंट क्यों करूं मैं? और मैं क्या कह रहा हूं कि भैया मेरे को मिला ही नहीं गुड्स, तो पेमेंट कैसे करूं? तो हु इज लायबल टू मेक द पेमेंट? लॉजिकली नेबर, because he has received the delivery and he consumed the goods as his own. So there was no contract between the neighbor and the shopkeeper. Even he is liable to make the payment. This type of contract is called quasi contract. The contract arises due to situation, and this is called quasi contract. A quasi contract is not created by words spoken or written or conduct of parties. It is created by law under certain circumstances. Kritika is asking, sir, what is the difference between quasi and implied? Clear to likha hai. Implied contract was created even by the conduct. कुलीन ने आपका सामान उठाने के लिए कहा, you are not stopping him, you are not preventing him, you are allowing him. This is the implied. But in quasi contract there was no contract. Contract तो हुआ ही नहीं, performance पहले हुआ. There was no contract, only the performance, and due to performance the neighbor has to make the payment. This is called quasi contract. Sir, what if you already made the payment? Then I will get back the payment and neighbor has to make the payment, right? See, obligation of the lost goods, obligation of the finder of the lost goods to return them to the true owner, or the liability of person to whom money is paid under mistake to repay or back cannot be said to arise out of the contract. Suppose किसी को goods पड़ा हुआ मिला, उसकी जिम्मेदारी क्या है? उस goods को owner को वापस करना. Suppose in this case, if let's take an example. If A found the purse belongs to B, and A has paid some expenses to finding the original owner B. Now A can claim the amount from B. A को कुछ पड़ा हुआ मिला पर्स B का, और इन्हें ढूंढने की कोशिश की B को, ढूंढने में कुछ पैसे खर्च हो गए, तो वो क्लेम कर सकता है, भले कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ना हुआ हो, बट परफॉर्मेंस हुआ, उसके भले के लिए किया गया. दिस इज द क्वासी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. सर जो भी गुड्स रिसीव करेगा उसे पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा डेफिनेटली. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, ई कॉमर्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लाइक फ्लिपकार्ट, अमेजॉन, स्नैपडील, जो ऑनलाइन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है. Quasi and tacit. Sir, tacit is the implied contract. Quasi is something different. Tacit contract means implied contract. You can say here. Now, on the basis of performance of contract, the contract is executed contract. Executed contract means completed contract, performed contract. Performed. When both parties have completed their obligations, it is called executed contract. Suppose I enters into a contract with B to sell my car for 2 lakh rupees. I have made the delivery of the car and I received the payment. मतलब both parties have performed their obligation, जो उनकी ड्यूटी थी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में पूरा कर दिया. It is called quasi contract. When both parties have performed their respective obligations, it is called quasi contract. See example 33. When a grocer sells a sugar on cash payment, it is an executed contract because both parties have done what they were to do under the contract. ग्रोसर को सेल गुड्स देना था और पेमेंट रिसीव करना था. गुड्स भी दे दिया, पेमेंट रिसीव हो गया. इट मींस बोथ पार्टीज हैव परफॉर्म देयर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. दिस इज कॉल्ड executed contract. Executory contract, when both parties yet to perform, means they have not performed, they have yet to perform. Contract is entered only but not performed. It is called executory. Suppose where let's take an example 34 where G agrees to take the tuition of H, a pre-engineering student, from the next month. So next month the session will be start. And then H in consideration promised to pay G rupees 1000 per month. Even it means ना तो अभी lecture start हुए हैं ना अभी fees गई है. So both have to make the payment. It is called executory because both parties have yet to perform. Right? Now, executory is again classified in two categories: unilateral or one-sided contract and bilateral contract. Unilateral contract, one-sided contract means one party has performed and one party has yet to perform. एक ने perform कर दिया, दूसरी को perform करना बाकी है. See example 35. M advertises payment of award of rupees 50,000 to any person who finds his missing boy and brings him. M ने एडवर्टाइजमेंट निकाला कि जो मैं 50,000 का इनाम दूंगा, जो मेरे बच्चे को ढूंढ के लाएगा उसे 50,000 दूंगा. As soon as B traces the boy, there comes into the existence an executed contract. जैसे ही बी को बच्चा मिल जाता है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या हो गया, वन पार्टी के पार्ट पर कंप्लीट हो गया. बी ने ढूंढ दिया, पेमेंट करना रह गया, एम को पेमेंट करना ही. देन as soon as B traces the boy, there comes into the existence an executed contract because B has performed his share of obligation and it remains on the M to make the payment of reward what he has announced. अब M को पेमेंट करना रह गया तो एक पार्टी ने परफॉर्म कर दिया एंड अदर पार्टी हैज येट टू परफॉर्म. Bilateral when both parties have yet to perform. Both parties have yet to perform. अभी करना बाकी है. A promises to sell his plot to B for rupees 1 lakh cash down, but B pays only rupees 25,000 earnest money. A promised to sell his plot to B for rupees 1 lakh cash down, but B pays only rupees 25,000 as earnest money and promises to pay the balance on the next Sunday. Here both have to perform duties. कहा भैया 25,000 दे दिए, बाकी अगले महीने सब संडे को दूंगा मैं. दोनों को परफॉर्म करना बाकी है. इट इज अ बाइलेटरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. एक क्वेरी थी 30 एंड 31. 30 एग्जाम्पल, बस में चढ़ना, बस जा रही है, बस पर लिखा हुआ है कि उस प्लेस पे जा रही है, आप चढ़ गए, इट इज इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. आप एटीएम से कैश निकाल रहे हैं, मशीन यूज कर रहे हैं, इट इज इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ठीक है सर. इज एग्जीक्यूटिव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बायलैटरल? नो, बायलैटरल इज एग्जीक्यूटरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ओके, और क्या रह गया? सो these were the classification of contract. First we have discussed the valid contract, void contract, illegal, voidable and unenforceable. Or then we have discussed express contract, implied contract, quasi and e-commerce. Then we have discussed executed contract and executory contract, right? So now time for, sir एक क्वेश्चन है इसमें सौम्या का. सर what if M does not pay reward money? अगर रिवॉर्ड मनी पे नहीं करता, he can claim from by court. Sir, if in unilateral B traces boy but incur some expenses 10k, can we recover that 10k also? Depend upon the contract. And if genuine expenses, the court may allow. Anything else? So let's discuss the sixth question, LPL, and after that I will allow for your queries, and if the time allows, then we will discuss some practical questions, detailed question on the topic what we have discussed today. सर अगर 3 साल में कुछ मनी पे किया है और रेस्ट अमाउंट ना दिया है तो 3 साल के बाद रेस्ट अमाउंट को टाइम बांटना ही नहीं बीच में, तो वो माना जाएगा कि उससे में जब आपने लास्ट को टच किया उसके बाद 3 साल काउंट. ठीक है. Sir, in case of express contract, how can a party prove the contract in the case of any problem later in the court? Sir, law says only what you should do or not to do, and court decide on the basis of law, but on the basis of your evidence which you provide. So evidence देना party के हाथ में है जो ये कह रहा है. कोर्ट एविडेंस ढूंढने खुद नहीं जाएगा. यूनिलेटरल मींस वन पार्टी. यूनिलेटरल मतलब वन साइडेड. सर यूनिलेटरल एग्रीमेंट विदाउट कंसेशन इज void agreement. Voidable means the contract is valid at the time of making but can be void by other party. This is called voidable, and this can be only in 3 cases. First is the consent is obtained by use of coercion, influence, fraud or misrepresentation. The consent is not free. Second, when that one party wants to perform, the other party is preventing to perform, then first party contract is voidable at the option of first party. When uh, time limit is decided in the contract and party could not perform in that time limit, then in that case the other party can avoid the contract, right? So let's start for the LPL2. Sir, when all illegal contracts are void, then there is need of this contract. जब पहले इलीगल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्यों करेंगे, लेकिन बताना तो पड़ेगा ना आपको इलीगल क्या है और उसका इफेक्ट क्या होंगे, ठीक है? चलिए, a contract which ceases to enforceable by law becomes void, valid, voidable, illegal. फैजान अभी लेता हूं क्वेरी आपकी. A contract prohibited by law is valid, voidable, illegal, and enforceable. A contract entered into by minor is valid, voidable, void, illegal. A contract where both parties have performed their obligation is executory, executed, unilateral, or bilateral. In a unilateral contract, obligation is outstanding on both sides. One party has already performed his obligation. Both have performed their part. The contract is voidable. Bilateral contract means both parties have pending obligations. Only one party has performed. It is illegal. It is voidable. एक क्वेरी थी मिस्टर फैजान की. सर, what if there is no recording of phone call there, then there is no evidence? I'm not discussing beta ki how to collect the evidence. I'm saying the provisions of law, but practically thinking now, think practically. Court will decide on the basis of evidence. If you are filing a case against any person, so you have to arrange the evidence. आप ही को एविडेंस अरेंज करने पड़ेंगे, कोर्ट खुद नहीं जाएगा, ठीक है? So let's check the answers. Contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void. Contract prohibited by law is illegal. A contract entered into by minor is void. A contract where both parties have performed their obligations, both parties have performed, executed. In a unilateral contract, one party has already performed his obligation. A bilateral contract means both parties have pending obligations. Before I'm announcing the name of the persons who have given correct answer, एक query है मेरे सामने. Sir, can you give tip to memorize the points? सर, आज तो फर्स्ट डे है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का, इतनी जल्दी हार मत मानिए. Practice the only way to memorize. भैया जितना पढ़ोगे उतना मेमोराइज होगा, कोई शॉर्टकट नहीं लेना है. यू हैव टू बी अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. शॉर्टकट नहीं चलेगा भाई. ढंग से पढ़िए, प्रॉपर प्रैक्टिस कीजिए, डेफिनेटली मेमोराइज हो जाएगा. ठीक है. मिस्टर सचिन, मिस्टर संदीप कुमार ठाकुर, हर्षित सारोगी, दक्षता सिद्धार्थ, एंड सुप्रियो घोष. राइट. एक सेकंड, इस पे पैनल पे किसी ने जवाब दिया है नहीं. सो before discussing the point, I think I should allow you to ask your queries. चलिए, कौन है? शगुन, ask your query बेटा. anyone is anyone asked anyone asked to anyone has to ask your anyone has to query, has any query बेटा? बेटा जी, संजना इज आस्किंग सर, आपने कहा कि बायलैटरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में बोथ पार्टी हैव टू परफॉर्म, यानी परफॉर्म करना है. लास्ट में पेंडिंग, पेंडिंग का मतलब ही तो यह हुआ कि परफॉर्म करना बाकी है. पेंडिंग मतलब अभी नहीं करा. ओके. void contract means the contract in which any essential is missing. right. चलिए अपन डिस्कस करते हैं. और क्या क्वेरी है? सर, इफ टू पीपल verbally agree, contract, oral contract. Sir, do we need to write the points head in this section? Yes, you can write. Tacit is like a implied contract. Void contract means the contract in which any essential is missing. बता चुका मैं आपको. चलिए अब कुछ प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन में दिमाग लगाते हैं. देखिए, in practical question I am not today I am not discussing the way of presentation. I am just giving you idea about the type of question and how to answer. I am not working on the presentation. उसका केवल आंसर क्या करना है वो समझना है, प्रेजेंटेशन की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो इस पॉइंट, इस स्लाइड को आज डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे, some other class. But today we are discussing the some examples for type of question asked in your exam. Sandeep is asking, sir, no difference between bilateral and executory. Yes, beta. This question is belongs to the second part. What we discuss in tomorrow class. ये नहीं लेते. ये this is question number 2. Mr. Vivek Malhotra, principal of Sunrise Public School, decided to distribute sweets among the students during the annual function. He entered into an agreement with Sweet Delight Confectioners Private Limited for supply of 2,000 sweet boxes. During his visit to the factory, he observed different varieties of sweet and was satisfied with their quality. He placed the order and paid an advance amount, but he did not specify which type of sweet boxes he wanted. On due date, the company failed to deliver the goods. Vivek filed a suit claiming the compensation. Decide whether the company is liable under the Indian Contract Act. लैंग्वेज इज वेरी सिंपल, फिर भी डाउट है तो मैं हिंदी बता रहा हूँ. मिस्टर विवेक मल्होत्रा है, स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल हैं, उन्हें एनुअल फंक्शन में मिठाई बांटनी है, बच्चों को 2000 डब्बे की मिठाई की बांटने हैं. वो विजिट करने गए, फैक्ट्री विजिट की, बहुत सारी तरह की मिठाइयां थी. उन्होंने कहा मुझे 2000 डब्बे चाहिए, पर इन्होंने ये नहीं बताया कौन सी मिठाई चाहिए, कौन सी मिठाई चाहिए. तो विवेक ने, जो कंपनी ने सप्लाई नहीं किया टाइम पर, विवेक ने सूट फाइल करा कोर्ट में. बताइए कंपनी क्या लायबल है या नहीं है. पहली चीज, फर्स्ट यू हैव टू आंसर यस और नो, यस और नो. पहले तो आप आंसर दीजिए, कंपनी लायबल है या नहीं है. एवरीवन इज से, मोस्टली पीपल सेइंग नो एंड सम ऑफ यू आर सेइंग यस. ठीक है, ओके. नाउ द पर्संस हु आर गिविंग द आंसर नो, व्हाई, क्यों, जो नो कह रहे हैं वो क्यों कह रहे हैं, बताएं मुझे. वृंदा, अनसर्टेनिटी. यस, contract is not certain. Very good. But the person who are giving yes, who are saying yes, on why they are saying yes, why? Your answer is yes. बताएंगे जिन्होंने yes कहा है. नो वाला समझ में आ गया कि साहब नो ने क्या, क्योंकि सब सर्टेन नहीं था, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सर्टेन नहीं था. मिस्टर विवेक ने ये तो बताया, he told, he informed that he needs 2000 boxes, but he does not inform which suite he required. So company is not liable. Let's see the answer. Very simple answer. In simple, this part is what is your answer. This part, what is the problem, and this part on which basis you are giving the answer. ठीक है. Under the Indian Contract Act, an agreement must be certain and definite in the terms. Agreement with uncertain or vague terms are void and unenforceable by law. Facts of the case, what was the problem? You have to mention the problem in short. Vivek Malhotra placed an order of 2000 sweet box with Sweet Delight Confectioners Private Limited and also paid advance money. However, he failed to specify the variety of sweets required. The company did not supply the goods on the due date, following which Vivek claimed compensation. Conclusion क्या निकला? Since the agreement did not clearly specify the type of sweet to be supplied, the terms of the contract are uncertain. Therefore, agreement is void and company is not liable for compensation. So you have to answer in three ways. First, what is your answer? On which basis you are giving the answer? And of what problem you are giving the answer? क्या आंसर है, क्यों आंसर है, और किस चीज का आंसर है, ये तीनों आपको मेंशन. 4 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन है ये. अगर इतना लिखी आए तो डेफिनेटली यू विल गिव मोर देन 3.5 और 4 मार्क्स. क्योंकि इन सीए एग्जाम द मार्क्स आर ऑन द क्वालिटी नॉट द क्वांटिटी. तोल के नंबर नहीं मिलते. अच्छा प्रेजेंट करना, अच्छी बात लिखनी है, जितना पूछा जाए उतना जवाब देना है, उसी बात. राइट, क्लियर हुआ? एनी डाउट इन दिस क्वेश्चन? एनी डाउट इन दिस क्वेश्चन? ओके, वन मोर क्वेश्चन. मिस्टर करण भाटिया engaged Modern Decor Solution Private Limited for furnishing and decorating his newly opened boutique. According to the agreement, the work was to be completed by 30th September 2023. However, by the due date, only 25% of the work had been completed. Karan terminated the agreement and appointed another contractor to finish the project. Modern Decor Solution Private Limited filed a suit claiming reimbursement of expenses incurred on the incomplete work. Karan argued that the work was not completed within the stipulated time and unfinished work was of no practical use of him. Decide whether Karan Bhatia is liable to make the payment. Question क्या है तो समझे. करण ने काम दिया मॉडर्न डेकोर को कि भैया काम करो और 30 सितंबर तक मैं काम कंप्लीट कर दूंगा. 30 सितंबर तक केवल 25% काम कंप्लीट हुआ. करण ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किसी और को दे दिया. अब जो मॉडर्न डेकोर था उन्होंने कहा भाई साहब जो मेरा खर्चा वो तो लौटाओ मुझे. करण ने कहा भाई साहब आपने जो काम किया ना उसको मेरे कोई काम का नहीं है, मैं क्यों करूँ, आपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया था 30 सितंबर को देने का बट वो कंप्लीट नहीं किया. क्वेश्चन ही आया कि करण भाटिया को पैसे देने हैं मॉडर्न डेकोर को, तो आप लोगों का आंसर आ रहा है नो. इससे पहले एक क्वेरी थी. सर हेमंत जी ने पूछा सर आपने कहा मैंने अगर ऐसा ही लिख दिया तो 3.5 या 4 नंबर मिलेंगे, 4 नंबर एक क्वेश्चन में से पूरे क्यों नहीं मिलेंगे. अरे भाई अगर आप ऐसा लिखे बिल्कुल परफेक्ट लिख के आएंगे बिल्कुल एज इट इज तो 4 के 4 ही मिलेंगे. मैं कहा तो सही, तो थोड़ी बहुत गलती कर दी आपने लिखने में, लैंग्वेज इधर हो गई तो आपका नंबर कट सकता है. ठीक है ना, 4 में से 4 पूरे ही होते हैं बेटा जी. संजना ने कहा है लाइबिल, कुछ लोगों ने यस कहा है, मैक्सिमम लोगों ने नो कहा है. तो पहले यस वालों से पूछते हैं वाई यस, रीजन बताइए. रीजन बताइए किन बेसिस पर यस है. जिन्होंने यस बोला है रीजन बताएं. जवाब ही नहीं आया. चलिए नो वाले रीजन बताएं. जिन्होंने नो बोला है द पर्सन हु हैज गिवन आंसर नो गिव द रीजंस आल्सो. बिकॉज द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट is voidable. The contract is voidable because the contract could not be performed within the time specified in the contract. See the answer. Clause I of the Indian Contract Act 1872 provides that an agreement enforceable at the option of one party but not at the option of the other is a voidable contract. If a party fails to perform within the agreed time, the contract becomes voidable at the option of the promisee. If the partial performance provides no benefit to the promisee, he is not liable to compensate. Right? What is the conclusion? The contract becomes voidable at Karan's option because the work was not completed within the agreed time. Since incomplete work was no substantial benefit to the him, Karan Bhatia is not liable to pay the claimed amount. Clear? So students, I have also given the assignment, some question in the assignment. Please go through the those assignment. पहले तो आपको करना क्या है? First, today itself, you have to take the revision of what we have discussed. तो इस यूनिट जितना पार्ट मैंने पढ़ा है उसको स्टडी मॉड्यूल, through study module you have to go through all the points. My notes are uploaded, this ppt is uploaded. Go through that point and revise this topic today itself. जो हमने पढ़ा आज ही खत्म कर लो भाई, अगर अपना दिमाग में सेट करना चाहते हो. राइट? उसके बाद in today and tomorrow, in the next class is tomorrow, I will complete this unit number 1. Right? असाइनमेंट अपलोड उसी पे हो गया होगा, नहीं तो हो जाएगा अपलोड, है ना, अभी हो जाएगा. अगर नहीं हुआ है तो मैं अभी ICAI से पूछ लूंगा, तो हो जाएगा. उसको आप डाउनलोड करिए, फिर प्रैक्टिस कर लीजिए, पर प्रैक्टिस करिएगा असाइनमेंट की आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ यूनिट नंबर 1. तो आफ्टर नेक्स्ट क्लास देन गो टू द असाइनमेंट. एक क्या क्वेरी है? लिखने से या ना लिखने से आंसर की मार्किंग पे इफेक्ट पड़ा, क्या लिखने से? बताइए किस चीज की बात कर रहे हैं? कंपनी विल बी एबल टू गेट 25.1 मनी एंड करण इज लायबल टू गिव। नो भैया, करण को कुछ नहीं देना। अगर वर्क बेकार है, वो अगर उस वर्क को यूज किया तो करण लायबल होगा, अदरवाइज बेकार। सेक्शन लिखने या लिखने से आंसर पर फर्क पड़ेगा। डेफिनेटली इफ यू मार्किंग द सेक्शन अप्रोप्रिएट सेक्शन, यू विल डेफिनेटली गेट द बेनिफिट। राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस कैसे करें? क्वेश्चन उठाइए, लिख के देखिए। मॉडल इंस्टीट्यूट का मॉडल टेस्ट पेपर पड़े हुए हैं, सजेस्टेड आंसर मतलब प्रीवियस अटेम्प्ट के क्वेश्चन पेपर विद सॉल्यूशन पड़े हुए हैं, उन्हें कीजिए, प्रैक्टिस कीजिए। ओके। सर व्हाट अबाउट द एडवांस मनी गिवन बाय करण? ही विल गेट बैक फ्रॉम द डेकोर। सर काम ही नहीं हुआ है, मैंने एडवांस पेमेंट कर दिया, आपने काम नहीं करा तो पैसा तो वापस मिलेगा ना मुझे, प्रतीक जी। अगर काम ही नहीं होगा तो पेमेंट क्यों दूंगा मैं आपको? राइट। ओके मिस्टर अजीजुनी, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेरी। मिस्टर मौलवी, आस्क योर क्वेरी। आस्क योर क्वेरी। संदीप, आस्क योर क्वेरी।
हेलो सर।
हाँ प्लीज। हेलो।
सर इसी ये जो केस लॉ है इसी को थोड़ा बदल देंगे। अगर करण के पास 2 फ्लोर था, 2 फ्लोर का मकान, तो अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो है एक फ्लोर को यानी रंग दिया, यानी रंगने का काम था, तो एक फ्लोर को रंग दिया और दूसरे नहीं रंगा उस डेट तक, ड्यू डेट तक, तो सर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो 1 फ्लोर का जो काम किया था उसका वो
मेरी मेरी बात
ड्यू।
सुनिए। अगर जो उसने काम किया, किसने? पेंटर ने, आप रंगने की बात कर रहे हैं, अगर वो काम करण के यूज में आता है तो करण लायबल टू मेक द पेमेंट। बट वो कॉम्पनसेशन भी लेगा थ्रू कोर्ट की, भैया मेरा टाइम खराब हुआ, उसका मुझे कॉम्पनसेशन भी मिलेगा। अगर वो काम कोई जो पेंटर ने काम किया, सपोज एक कमरे की 2 दीवार पेंट कर दी 4 में से, तो कोई क्लेम नहीं मिलेगा। चारों पेंट कर दी, दूसरा कमरा पेंट करना बाकी है, तो उस कमरे का मिल जाएगा। वैसे हम डिस्कस करेंगे इस टॉपिक को, परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द कंटेंट, उसमें एज मच एज में डिस्कस करेंगे हम उसको, कितना कॉम्पनसेशन मिल सकता है। ठीक है।
और सर एक और डाउट था, बायलैटरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और एग्जीक्यूटरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दोनों
सेम
सेम ही
सेम
हैं?
सेम है, सेम सेम। ठीक
थैंक
है।
यू सर।
ओके। शगुन, आस्क योर क्वेरी। अक्षित, आस्क योर क्वेरी।
Good evening, sir.
गुड इवनिंग।
Sir, I doubt in sir, after fourth and sixth point.
फोर्थ एंड सिक्स पॉइंट। फोर्थ एंड सिक्स विच पॉइंट? एसेंशियल्स।
Yes, sir. Essentials there.
एक सेकंड। फोर्थ, सर्टेनिटी ऑफ मीनिंग।
Yes, sir.
तो मीनिंग शुड बी सर्टेन, मैंने डिस्कस किया था बेटा। अगर 2 कार है मेरे पास तो मुझे क्लियर करना पड़ेगा कि कौन सी कार मुझे बेचनी है। और ये अभी हमने इसमें भी डिस्कस किया, अभी एग्जाम्पल में डिस्कस किया। अगर क्लियर नहीं है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सर्टेन नहीं है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैलिड नहीं होगा। और 6 पॉइंट था आपका फ्री कंसेंट, तो उसको अपन डिस्कस करेंगे। बेसिक हम डिस्कस किया था, कंसेंट फ्री होनी चाहिए, कोई प्रेशर नहीं होना चाहिए। बट डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे, यूनिट नंबर 3 में डिस्कस करेंगे हम। ठीक है।
कॉन्सनेंस एडिडम मतलब उसमें कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं होता क्या सर?
किसमें? दोबारा बोलिए बेटा।
अगर जैसे कॉन्सनेंस एडिडम का मतलब उसमें कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं किया
कॉन्सेंसस
जाता।
नहीं है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, कंसेंट नहीं है। कॉन्सेंस मतलब नहीं है, कंसेंट मतलब कॉन्सेंस का मतलब, कंसेंसस का मतलब हुआ कंसेंट नहीं है। और अगर कंसेंट नहीं है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट भी नहीं माना जाएगा, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ ही नहीं। ठीक है बेटे।
अंडरस्टूड सर। अग्रीमेंट वैलिड है क्या फोर्थ में लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज में? एग्जाम्पल 6 जो है उसके अंदर वैलिड कैसे है?
बेटा एक मिनट, टू वैलिड नहीं है, टू बी वैलिड इट मस्ट बी इन राइटिंग। अगर राइटिंग रजिस्टर्ड होगा तभी वैलिड होगा। ये अपन ने पढ़ा है, अभी अपन पढ़ेंगे यूनिट नंबर 2 में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विदाउट कंसिडरेशन। So if any party wants to transfer anything on account of natural love and affection, is perfectly valid if it is written and registered, right?
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, beta. Shagun, ask your query. Okay, I think she is not here. So at this point, we are ending the session. How the query और ले लेता हूँ फटाफट से. How much English vocabulary is needed for law? Definitely आप proper करिए आंसर उसको. सर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को वॉइड और वॉइडर कैसे पहचानेंगे भैया? अभी पढ़ो प्रोविजन, सब समझ में आ जाएगा बच्चों। अभी तो आज पढ़ा मैंने, वॉइड समझाया कि एसेंशियल ना हो, वॉइडेबल केवल 3 केस में होगा, बताया मैंने आपको। एक बार दोबारा रिकॉर्डिंग में चेक कीजिए, देखिएगा उसको। सर कैन वी हैव द रिकैप ऑफ ऑल द एसेंशियल? रिकैप तो पूरी क्लास का होगा बेटे, आप रिकॉर्डिंग में जाके चेक करो, ठीक है ना? अनड्यू एंड कोर्शन, वेट फॉर द यूनिट नंबर 3। एग्जाम में सिंपल इंग्लिश में कर सकते हैं, डेफिनेटली कर सकते हैं। चलिए, okay, at this place we are ending the session. Thank you so much. Be ready for next class. But before ending the session, I'm again requesting you to please revise the topic what I've discussed today itself, right? चलिए, एक रह गई बच्ची मुस्कान। मुस्कान, ask your query. Ask your query. ग्रामर मैटर करता है, बिल्कुल करता है। चलिए, थैंक यू सो मच सर, क्लास इज ओवर नाउ। You can end the session. Okay, thank you.